What's up, everybody? This is Chris with More Balanced Training. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever wanted to start a podcast? Have you listened to podcasts and wondering like, hey, I could do that too? Well, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. Can't beat that, y'all. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many other platforms. You can make money, ching ching, dollar bill, y'all, from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. So what do you have to do? Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm today to get started. What are you waiting for? You got a lot to say. Might as well let Anchor help you. What up, everybody? This is Chris with More Balanced Training. How are you doing? Welcome to today's episode. This is the 5th episode. We're moving along. We're doing well. We're just trying to, put out as much information and content as possible during this time. Hope you're doing well, and I hope everybody is in good spirits. Yes. So, I wanted to talk today about some things that we, many of us deal with. As far as our diet is concerned, about what we eat, the things we do or do not eat, what we consume. And today I wanted to talk about sugar. Everybody likes sugar. I know sugar is a thing that I know myself anyway. I have the biggest sweet tooth there is. But we have to understand that sugar is actually the cause of a lot of our problems that we are associated with, that we face today. And there's different types of sugar that we must be able to understand and identify if we're going to make healthy, smart decisions in the things that we put in our bodies. I'm all about eating as healthy as possible, even though my sweet tooth is ridiculous. I try to substitute many things for sugar, but we'll get into that as we go deeper into this conversation here. Okay, so anything I want to just give my disclaimer. Have to do this when it comes about food or whatever like that. This information is for educational purposes only, and should not be interpreted as medical advice. I always have to do that. Like I said, I'm not a nutritionist, but I'm going to give you just some information based off of scientific research, based off of facts, and then let you make educated guess on what you're going to do with your own body. And I suggest that you go and you talk to any nutritionist, because what we need to understand is in this type of anything we're doing, whether it be fitness or whatever, everybody has to do things that is directly associated with their well-being and their body. Okay, so let us make sure we understand that. So whatever we do has to be for us individually. There is no broad range of things. There's there's certain generic things you can say, but until you get into it and you do it for yourself, it doesn't necessarily mean that what you hear or what you see may work for you. That's why there's personal trainers that are out there. That's why there are nutritionists that are out there. These people, we have to be able to take what you have and what you are able to do, and put all these different things together and create a program specifically for you or the individual. Okay. So number one, let's just go through this. There are 2 different types of sugar that are found in foods. Okay. Now, number one, you have what's called fructose, or the natural sugars, or what's like fructose. These are things that you see in fruit. Okay, just basically it for fruit. Strawberries, blueberries, bananas. This sugar is called fructose. Okay. Now they also have dairy foods, which have lactose. There's sugar in those is lactose. Now, I personally don't drink any dairy products, but I try to get all the sugar that I consume from fruits. Okay, these are foods that are high in nutrients and low in calories. Okay, so even though there's sugar involved with it, they're low in calories. The other thing with fruit, such as strawberries, blueberries, oranges, and things like that, they also provide fiber. So you're eating a large quantity. You might be eating sugar or fructose with the natural sugars, but you're getting the benefit of the fiber. So to help you break down the sugar that you're eating, to help slowly absorb it, to pass through, to keep you regular. There's all the different benefits that come with these type of foods. Okay. So you want the natural sugars, even if you are a dairy drinker. Some people are lactose intolerant, but even if you are a dairy drinker, there are natural sugars that occur from this. Now, some companies, they go ahead and they do add extra sugars to their drinks, but for the most part, if you can get just a raw milk or that thing, or if you can get them directly from a dairy farmer, you're only taking in the lactose itself. Okay, so there's no extra added sugars. Now, speaking of added sugar, there's also the category of added sugars. Now, you'll get this in candies, sweets, sugary drinks like Coca-Cola, Sprite, all those different things. Those are actually artificially added with sweetness. So that sweetness that you're receiving is artificially added for sweetness. Okay, I think I told you about a book I was reading a while ago called Fast Food Genocide. I believe that's what it's called. But anyway, in this book, the doctor was talking about how certain fast food restaurants, such as McDonald's, their foods, their sodas, all this stuff is loaded with sugar. So there's actually a chemical response that happens when you drink a lot of added sugars. When you go to eat like a real fruit or anything that has a natural sugar in it, it doesn't taste right. Your taste buds are distorted. So if you've ever experienced that, people say, "Oh, I like to taste the fruit," is more likely because they've had a lot of sugar or added sweetness, added sugars to their diet throughout their life, and so which that causes them to be able to not taste certain things. Okay, all right. So that's the results of added sugar. So you also have added sugars such as honey, high fructose corn syrup. These are all various forms of sugar. Agave. So you find these things such in candies, sweets, sodas, others, even ketchup, salad dressings. So you have to understand, added sugars equals added calories, but there's no provision of nutritional value with that as well. Okay, so when you're talking about limiting sugar, you're limiting added sugars. Okay, now I would talk about these different things. My personal, like if I have to have some type of sugar, what I do, and I'll talk about that as we go along in this conversation today. Okay, so we want the natural sugars. We want to get away from the added sugars. Okay, so no need to add anything. All right. So next, understanding what happens when you ingest these added sugars. Okay, so understand. So if you add these added sugars, number one, there's empty calories that replace these foods. So there's empty calories that you're receiving. Okay, not only that, by ingesting all these added sugars, you're increasing health problems. Okay, now what I'm about to tell you is actually a source from the American Heart Association from the 2016 through 2020 Dietary Guidelines of America. And this is coming from them. Okay, so number one, the thing that you can see as a result of eating too much added sugars is tooth decay. Okay, tooth decay. So what that does is that increases the risk of dental caries, also known as cavities. And that provides, so the sugar also provides a food source for bacteria in the mouth. So more sugar you eat, provides more bacteria in the mouth, which causes tooth decay. Okay. Next, type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is one of the most common things in this country. We talked about it before as far as the health implications of type 2 diabetes. It also leads up to high blood pressure, and then later on down the line, which is the number one killer in this country, actually throughout the world, is heart disease. Okay. Heart disease is all related. Excuse me, I can't talk today. Is all related to things like type 2 diabetes, but it's always with what we eating, right? Which is, I would love for it to be where we're doing as much to help protect people, like we're doing during this pandemic. If we're doing certain things to help protect people from these diseases that are actually killing over 500,000 people a year, doing better things on what we're putting in the foods in the stores, what we're the processed foods, limiting the sugar foods, things like that. A lot of the foods have so much added sugar in it, and if you read your labels, you'll see. Okay, but that's a different story. Okay, they also is linked to liver disease, heart disease, which I mentioned a minute ago, and weight gain. It's not so much the carbohydrates that are causing weight gain. Now we have to understand there's different types of carbohydrates, right? Sugar, yes, it is. It's a carbohydrate. It's but it's the refined sugar, the added sugar, that causes the problem with weight gain. Not the stuff like the fruits, not the vegetables. Those are also forms of carbohydrates, because carbohydrates gives you energy. Okay, it is this stuff. This is what causes the weight gain. All right. So if you can eliminate many of the added sugars from your diet, so don't add it, right? If you like the donuts and coffee and all that stuff, nothing wrong with straight coffee, but you're adding sugar and all that stuff to it, then it's added sugar. You're adding it to your diet. So if you can control that, then you're controlling the amount of weight gain that is associated with this. Okay. Okay, so one thing we have to understand that when you're eating sugar, just think about this on a small level, if you can. I wish you could see a chart on what I'm presenting to you right now. But when you eat, just say you eat 1 teaspoon of sugar, you're actually consuming 15 calories. So you go in your cabinet, if you know how to cook, you have the teaspoons, tablespoons, all that stuff in your cabinet. Take a teaspoon out and fill up with sugar. That is 15 calories. Okay. Now you might not think that's a lot, right? But let's add them up. Let's keep thinking about that for a second. So if you take 15 calories from 1 teaspoon of sugar, right? Now let's say you have a 1/2 cup of vanilla ice cream. That ends up being 3.5 teaspoons of sugar. So we're talking about 50 calories, right? Or something around that range. 1 brownie, like just one little small 2.7 square, and I have a huge problem with this myself because I love brownies myself. 5.1 teaspoons. A 12-ounce can of soda, of regular cola, is 9.8 teaspoons of sugar. Now, I don't know if you can imagine this, but it's starting to add up, right? A 48-ounce regular soda, like you go to the movies, you get a big drink, 39.2 teaspoons of sugar. 39 teaspoons of sugar. And if you just was crazy and you was like, you just love sweetness that much and you took a cup of table sugar, you're looking at 48 teaspoons of sugar. That's a lot of calories.